Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, to tell you about my friend's music record shop. Find them at 4191A Manchester Avenue in the heart of the Grove, right between the demo and the ready room. Every Friday they've got an all-new music happy hour and listening party going on. Go down there, check them out. You get 10% off all your purchases on Friday. Free beer from Four Hands Brewery, vinyl spinning all day. They'll have new records coming in this week from Tedeschi Trucks Band, Saul Williams, Def Leppard, Neverman, and Hum, and all sorts of other stuff. So get down there, pick up some new vinyl, check out their always growing local music section. If you are in a local band and want your music on the shelves, ask them about getting some of your music in there. So they are happy to help out and support the local music scene. Find more information on their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, musicrecordshop.com. Happy to welcome independentmusicpromotions.com sponsoring this episode of the Rock Paper Podcast. Head over to independentmusicpromotions.com and take a look at what they got going on over there. There's hundreds of various articles discussing today's music trends, including Spotify and promotion and everything you need to get your band out there more. So it's a lot of great tips, and you can also submit your music to the website for PR purposes if you're interested in stuff like that. So head over to independentmusicpromotions.com. Find their Facebook and Twitter and stuff too. independentmusicpromotions.com.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
We are Midnight Reveille, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.
She was the devil's daughter, sweeter than holy water. She's the devil's doctor, yeah, the night got hotter. Now the devil, he is wise as he is evil, and his plan went well when I sat down at the table. He wanted all of my soul, she wanted somewhere to go when I was willing and able, yeah. And ever around. So I picked up the town and climbed into a cab with the devil's daughter, sweeter than holy water. She's the devil's doctor, yeah, the night got hotter. She started smiling and grabbed a hold of my hand, yeah, 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 yeah. She said, I've gotta have you, ooh, want you to be my man, yeah, 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 yeah. So I did what any fool would do, and I gave in to her spell. Now I'm caught here in the middle, between this hellhound on my trail and the devil's daughter, sweeter than holy water. She's the She's a devil's daughter. Oh no. Sweeter than holy water, yeah, yeah. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel it? Come on now, feel the world getting hotter. Devil's daughter. Whoa, sweeter than holy water, yeah. She's the devil's daughter, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, sweeter than holy water, yeah. She's the devil's daughter.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from Festus, Missouri.
Fenton.
Oh, Fenton, Missouri. Yeah, why did I say? Take two.
Fenton, Missouri.
Yeah, hanging out in Fenton, Missouri, with the guys of Midnight Reveille. Did I say that right?
Midnight Reveille.
All right, good. I'll make sure I.
You're probably the first one to say
First one that ever got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So welcome to the show, guys. This is exciting for me. I just recently, I know I've seen your guys' name around for a little while now and stuff, but just recently, actually got to see you guys. Was at that Divide the Empire release party at Pops.
Yep. That's fun.
Yeah, sounded really good. I wish I could have stayed longer. I had to duck out. I believe I had to work in the morning or something was going on, and had to be an adult in the morning, and so yeah. So I didn't get to stay and watch the whole set, but I did watch quite a bit of your stuff there, and
cool.
And then started listening to the album, your EP, online, and really great. I really like that a lot.
Thank you very much, sir.
So let's talk. Well, I guess first let's go around the room. Everybody want to say hey and introduce yourselves.
I'm Eric Sims, lead vocals, rhythm guitar, some lead guitar. Never played drums in my life.
Keyboards.
Can't play a keyboard to save my life.
But he can play an organ.
I couldn't play an organ again.
You can sure suck a good organ.
Not multitasking here, but
sorry.
I'd like to apologize to my mom, number one. But no, just write the songs for the most part, that whole thing. So
Very cool.
Thank you.
He's the brains.
I wouldn't say that at all.
Matt's still good looks.
Yeah.
And raise the muscle, and then us two just sit around and
Eat shrimp.
don't do shit.
All right, who's up next?
Go for it.
Go ahead,
Somebody
Matt.
looking at me.
It's your turn, man. Step up.
I'm Matt. Play guitar, play leads, do a little bit of backups. Not many though. Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm Brett. I play bass. That's all I do. I don't do it very well, but I get by.
You look pretty.
I do look pretty good doing it, but
Yeah,
it's all in the eyes.
that's right.
So that's about it. How about Ray? What's he do?
I'm Ray, play drums, and play drums. And I play drums.
And he looks at me a lot,
Yeah,
Yeah, me and Brett have a connection.
uncomfortably.
yeah. Awkward connection.
Every time I look back, he's looking at me.
Just steely eyes, just looking at you.
Looking at me.
All right, Mr. Terry.
I'm Terry. I play keyboards. I'm the newest member of the band.
Yep.
All right. Well, how new? When did you join?
Since August.
August. Mm-hmm. And how long or how? When did you guys start the project as this lineup?
Brett and I worked together, so we probably a couple years ago we tried another little project that didn't get too far. We never really played a gig out, but I think from that this whole Midnight Reveille thing was born. We put an ad on Craigslist, and lo and behold, Ray shows up, who's a phenomenal drummer, an even better person, fit right in with us, and off we go. At that time, I was playing acoustic. I played acoustic for about 17 years. I had an electric, but I wasn't really playing it much. And then a friend of a friend had talked to Matt about us. We needed a guitar player. We were kind of looking for somebody to jump in with us, who's got the jam, blues, Allman Brothers, Government Mule kind of side that we were wanting to take it in. And so Matt shows up, fit right in with us. We take off as a four-piece, and off we go. That was probably last summer.
Joined us in June.
I joined at the very end of June.
Okay.
last year.
No, it was 13.
Was it 13 or
We're at a year and a half now. Yes.
It's 16 now.
It's
yeah, so 14.
Was it 14? Okay.
Yeah, it's 14, year and a
Sorry.
half. So,
Common Core,
He's
Sorry.
not very good at math.
and somewhere along
Or
the way,
spelling.
I made the switch to playing electric, and I think that kind of, in my opinion, that kind of set us on a different course.
Yeah.
It would have been
Yes.
a totally different band if it was a guy with an acoustic guitar, trying to kind of keep up sound-wise with a full band. And I haven't looked back. I don't really play acoustic very much anymore. I might play it to write songs. I think it's a little bit better vehicle for writing songs by yourself. But for the most part, it's electric guitar, and it's so much more fun. There's so many little toys and gadgets and pedals and all this stuff you can add to your collection. So it never ends.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting progression from when I started, when I joined Eric and Brett, because it was more singer-songwriter-y type stuff with acoustic and bass and drums. And it was good stuff. I mean, it was really good stuff. But we just felt we needed that extra, I don't know, maybe that bedrock of the electric guitar in there. And that's when we went trying to find someone, and that's when Matt joined us. And really, Matt, once he joined us, it really, like Eric said, gave us a direction to go for. And then we started, just going down that path.
I like to push them.
Just livened it up some.
Yeah, it did. It opened doors for us too.
Yeah,
in the music community. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you said Allman Brothers because that's I got a lot of that kind of roots rock Allman Brothers sound out of the album when I was listening, or the EP.
Cool.
Yeah. Allman Brothers is the river that kind of runs through all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their different music that they like to listen to. Everybody's got a different style that they bring to the table. But that river that kind of connects all of us is Allman Brothers and all their tributaries, which would be Warren Haynes and Government Mule and Derek Trucks. And I think all of us can come to the table and love that music and kind of...
Which is funny because, Matt and your everything else is completely on the opposite ends of the earth.
Yeah, everything else. He's
from a metal background.
Yeah, he's got a metal background, and I didn't play acoustic guitar for, like I said, 17. Or I didn't play electric guitar for
so you're more
17
singer-songwriter.
years. So I'm more the singer-songwriter vein of things. Van Morrison was a huge influence, and James Taylor and
Boy George.
Boy George.
He sure could play an organ.
He wrote the hits.
He did.
You know what I mean?
He's the one that
shaped our lives.
He's the one that actually got you to start playing when you first seen him. That's what I want to do.
Yep, I saw Karma Chameleon, and it was off to the races. From there on out. So
don't be ashamed.
That's the only Boy George song I can name. Yeah. And if anybody else knows another one, don't say it because you'll look like an ass.
It is pretty interesting, though. I mean, we all do come from different musical backgrounds. Right. Pretty drastic, I would think, too, for the most part. I mean, maybe Brett and Matt are kind of the closest background as far as music goes, maybe.
I was kind of classic rock, but he was too. But I was in the metal scene too. I was in some, I wouldn't call them metal bands. I was in some hard rock bands, and so I was in the hard rock scene and the classic rock scene, and then I was into the jazz stuff too. But I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place.
Yeah. It's funny. My bands keep progressively getting lighter.
Yeah, you're going to end up
metal
like
for years
and cover band.
And hard rock, and now kind of blues rock. And
when you're an old man, you'll be sitting on a corner and just blowing a kazoo.
I don't know. Me and Brett were talking about starting an Air Supply tribute band.
So. Oh yeah! Holy crap!
Massive hits, Air Supply.
I'm just doing it because of the wardrobe. I just want to be able to wear that stuff they wore.
Spandex. You can wear spandex in this band.
Yeah,
I would actually
like that.
Spandex and dress shirts. Lots of chains.
You have to get like a toupee.
Yeah, I'll have to get like extensions.
Yeah,
I will.
That would be awesome.
We should call the next CD something like True Love or something.
I think Terry was in like a Santana. You did a Santana.
Well, I was in a Santana tribute for about 5 years prior to this,
which definitely fits right in with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you were doing Yes.
And for a while we tried a Yes tribute. Never really got off the ground. But prog rock was always my background. Yes, Pink Floyd, Genesis, Supertramp, Jethro Tull. But I always had Allman Brothers, and I got into jazz for a while. So.
Yeah, so it's a good mix. It works somehow. I mean, we all kind of come together, and I think we're trying to make music that isn't rote, that isn't isn't going to sound the same every night. We want it to have sort of a life of its own when we get up on stage, and just do something different, something that we can all be happy with at the end of the show. And I don't think I've ever been disappointed afterwards. It's a lot of fun.
And we're not like on the button where it's like you got to play this exactly like this every time, where it's gonna suck everything off the life out of it.
That takes the fun out of it. I think
those change.
Everything changes.
Yeah, it's a lot of free form.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
But yeah, and we're all adding input to these new songs now, trying to kind of figure out little spots that we can do different things and kind of bust up the monotony of a 6-minute song. I mean, we're all progressively getting more ADD as we go, but we're not playing 2.5-minute songs.
Right.
We're playing 6-minute songs that have some range to them and have something to say. And for the people that still want to hear that kind of music, we're a good band.
We're here. So.
Yeah, that music's still going.
Right. Yeah, I just I said something the other night talking to somebody. Our way is just always kind of getting on like there's not this music made anymore and stuff. I'm like, well, whatever. I mean, regardless of whatever type of music it is, if you love it, there's somebody else that loves it and they're making music too. So
right, definitely.
So if you like, whatever it is, if it's blues or it's rock or classic rock stuff, they mentioned there's a couple of great classic rock kind of bands or newer, younger guys, but they're making that sounds from the late '60s and '70s and early '70s, and but like Rival Sons and Tyler Bryan and the Shakedown and stuff. They're good. Two of my favorites. With stuff like that, it's just like if you do your homework and you search a little bit, it might be on your radio and in your face, but if you look a little bit, you can find some really great music out there.
The best music, in my opinion, is on the fringes. If I'm going to top 40, I'm just passing through to get to the jazz station, or to get to something that sounds like music to me. We've all got a different definition of that, but to me, all that music on the fringes is where you find the good stuff.
Sure.
Every once in a while, you might hear something on the radio that is great. I'm not saying
Not often.
I'm not saying it's not there. It's just I don't know. It's kind of the black sheep of the music industry, in my opinion, is where the best stuff's at.
Yeah, and that was another topic that came up a little while ago about how Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, they're getting some radio play now and stuff, and that particular kind of that Stax Records 70s funk,
that like raw kind of dirty feeling to it though.
But that sound is on the radio again is a huge step in the right direction,
which is good.
Open up the door for a lot of great people that are making similar music that can potentially get a lot of attention because they fit right in there too. So hopefully more and more people take notice, step out and find something besides what is constantly played on your radio and stuff. So.
Yeah, and to me, guys like Jason Isbell, Chris Stapleton, these guys that have, as a songwriter, have something to say, other than life is a party.
Sure.
These guys that have something to say, I would call it after the party's over. They're in my opinion, great. It's great music. I've known Chris Stapleton music for a long time, and then people see him on the Country Music Awards or whatever, and who is this guy? And it's like if you dig a little bit deeper and don't just accept what's on the spoon coming your way, you can find amazing stuff. I was watching a TV show the other day and heard about I can't think of her name now. Rhiannon Giddens, maybe her name. It's just this jazz singer. She sounds like Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
She's a jazz singer, and it's amazing stuff. It's that music isn't dead. It's just kind of buried underneath all the noise, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Although that was pretty awesome to see Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, and Sturgill Simpson on GQ.
Yeah,
that was great.
That's those guys are definitely making a scene with what they're doing with the more of the gritty country stuff. So
I got to hear it again.
Yeah, you got to have something to say. That's the only way I can really put it. And there's so many songs out there that I don't know. It doesn't speak to me. I want life. I want life in music because that's where you want those two to intersect. You don't want it to be candy or just background music to your life. You want it to kind of be the soundtrack of it, and that's what we're trying to do. Is at the core of everything. You're trying to hit that guy driving down the interstate who can relate to what you have to say and provide that really.
Yeah, kind of what Matt was saying about moving from metal to rock to blues kind of stuff. Like I think it's all kind of natural progression. The same with songwriting and things too. Like you're gonna, I think as we were younger and stuff, we probably enjoyed a lot more the metal, punk, the that kind of stuff. That but as we I feel like as people evolve and we get older and stuff, we relate more to the singer-songwriter stuff. The message behind those songs and the different things. So
it's all about
experiences.
Plus, you get your ass kicked in the pit when you're.
Well, and those pesky kids. When you're 17 or 18, you're one of those pesky kids. And for me, I was listening to Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins, and that was great music. It still is.
I like it still.
Yeah, it's still.
You
good.
deserve a wedgie.
I'll take a wedgie.
Flannel red wedgie.
A flannel wedgie. That's a hell of a band name. But you're right. You get older, you get your ass kicked here or there, and you start talking about the pesky kids and the crappy music that they're listening to and looking for an alternative.
Yeah,
I'm still
Get
one
off
of
my
them.
grass.
Get off my grass.
there's
where's
this
the
podcast I listened to called About Last Night, and it's two comedians, Adam Ray, who I was lucky enough to have on the show just a bit ago. He was in town at the Funny Bone, and
Awesome.
we sat and talked, and his career's taken off. He's been in The Heat and Spy, and he's going to be in the new Ghostbusters coming out and stuff. So,
Cool.
anyway, and Brad Williams is his co-host, and anyway, one of the things they do a lot on their show is stuff like flannel wedgie. Anything like comes out like that, they're always like, "Oh yeah, I think they're playing the Troubadour next week" or something. They're stuff like it's always make a reference to being a great band name and things.
Yeah.
Wedgie.
So you can
Yeah.
put the whole thing in your mouth and just spit out the tail.
We have just to create the scene for you. We have a table full of beers and shrimp cocktail for some reason. So it's not like awkward. It may sound
Always
awkward.
awkward.
It is always awkward, but it's not what you might think. Shrimp statement.
I think that's unnecessary. I think everybody realized
That
it was shrimp.
That was for my mom. I said that for my mom. She's going to be listening to us.
Is she really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
She might.
So we touched on the self-titled EP that I mentioned listening to, and but yeah, really really great stuff, guys. I was
Thank you.
I really Devil's Daughter was one I tend to crank up quite frequently.
Thank you.
But Love Is Strong was another one I really was drawn to, and it reminded me a little John Mayer.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe to that one,
Definitely.
and especially with him, a guy who's evolved over the years too, from pop to his one of his latest records sounds a lot like Allman Brothers roots rock
Yeah,
stuff,
and he's playing with the dead. And
he's and that's cool, like that. An artist can take that journey, through music
Yeah.
and stuff. You don't always have to kind of keep putting out the same record. You can,
Right.
the sound can evolve and change.
Definitely.
And it's nice to see a guy like that who's, like I said, in the spotlight, and the fans are going on the ride with him. They're not bailing on him for trying to take some step in a new direction and stuff. So
No, we went and saw him at Scott Trey. We saw the Dead and him, and he did a great job.
He was the highlight of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
honestly.
If, without him, it would not have gotten up and flown.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this next 5 songs, our next EP we're putting out is a progression from what we've already done. We've only done 5 songs, but I mean, this is like it's not the same as what we've done before.
Yeah.
It still has the same basis probably, but it's going to be. It's going to be a little.
We're a little more
different.
picky on things. And
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I am anyway.
Well, it's just like you were talking about. It's just a progression of, and we've known each other longer. We've been together longer. We kind of know what flows better now together. And I'm really excited to get this going in the studio to hear what it sounds like. I think it's going to be really really cool stuff.
Yeah.
You guys recording in the same
Sawhorse,
place?
yeah,
Sawhorse.
Yep.
yeah.
So you guys, for the live shows, you guys are kind of taking a break, getting into the studio and recording the new album. So, so we'll hopefully that'll be out soon for this year and stuff. So, but so what? When you guys go into the studio, do you guys pretty well have like? I heard you guys jamming when I walked down, but do you have a pretty good sense like what all these songs are going to be, or do you let the producer and stuff to help you out to tweak things, or
We're pretty much our own producer,
Right.
and then Jason at studio, we let him kind of lead us if he feels or hears something that should be there. We kind of let him lead us because he's got a really good head on his shoulders when it comes to suggestions for music. But
yeah, for the
otherwise, most of the songs we're walking in there with, they're pretty much down pat.
Yeah. And do you guys record, like, there was that video online of Devil's Daughter where you guys are all, like, in the studio jamming, and is that, do you guys record that way at all, or do you guys do, you guys all individually do stuff?
That album, that EP, those 5 songs, we worked our asses off and went into the studio, and we're all facing each other, and we knocked it out. I mean, what you hear on the disc,
CD.
on the CD, on your phone is, for the most part, I'd say 90% of that was us in a room,
One take.
on one take, maybe 2 takes.
Yeah.
And so we just worked our asses off to get to that point, and we got lucky. And then you have, if you get that and you're happy with it, and then you have all this other time to build on top of it with solos and vocals and other little flourishes here or there. But that's the preferred way to do it, I think, is to have everybody in one room, as opposed to everybody in all these different sectors trying to communicate without seeing each other. To me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for me too. It was really my first time recording, so it felt natural, organic. Like it was just we were getting together and jamming.
Yeah.
So it takes all that pressure that you put on yourself, because when you go to the studio, you put pressure on yourself no matter what, because you want to be good, you want to be the best you can be. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to waste time, because that's money. You want it to be good. But for me personally, that really helped just get me in a mindset of jamming in just like a practice space. Just like, hey, we're just going to play songs we played a million times, and we're just going to play them really good.
Yeah.
Yep. You just sit there and focus a lot harder.
Yeah, it's like it's like if we were to go into the jam room here and you were to sit there in front of us. And it's different when you've got one guy as an audience member. It's so different than when you've got nobody listening. You've got a target that you're pointing this music at, and when the microphones turn on, that's the target. Just like here we are talking. This mic in the middle of the table is the target.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. You get this focus that is a little bit different than just sitting around jamming.
Yeah. And so, do you write? So Eric mentioned writing the lyrics. Do you write and then present to the band, and then you guys help kind of write the instrument parts?
He pretty much. Oh, if you want me to
Go for it.
He pretty much writes he writes the lyrics, period, and then he pretty much has a melody going on, and then we shape that melody into what the whole band. It changes. It goes from like a James Taylor song, and we twist it into like an Allman Brothers song. That'd be kind of how I'd say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does all the lyrics and the melody, and then so they're pretty much he brings the songs to the table so far, and
Most parts.
and then
Really,
we
yeah.
liven it up here, maybe bring it down there, tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, add a musical bridge to it. So it's a lot of the. I don't want to say a lot. A handful of them have been with me for 10 years. Devil's Daughter I wrote in probably 2003 or 4, and it just evolved. But it had the legs. You write a song and you really kind of know if you've got something or you don't. And that song has like kind of stayed the test of time, and we could walk into. We haven't played it in a while because we've been working on this new stuff, but we could walk in there right now and rip it and be fine.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the process. I'll bring a song in, and we'll work on it, and all this input comes into me, and I'll sit back and listen to it and say, "You're right." We've got a new song that's going to be on the EP, and it's always experimenting until you get to the studio, and then it's on tape, it's there. But you're trying to figure out what works best, and you do it differently every time. And then somebody says, "I like that. I liked what you did there," and that becomes a part of what's going to go on tape. You're kind of amassing all these little parts that are going to make the song kind of stand up and dance, as opposed to just be a song that you skip and get to the next one. So that's what we're doing now, is trying to figure out what's going to make this thing stand up and dance, and really be something that somebody wants to hear again. That's the goal. Is there's so many songs that come in and out of your ear that you're like, all right, cool, next one. But I want to write those songs for people that they want to hear again and again and again, and you can make that the soundtrack of what you do.
Sure.
So it's me coming to the table with it, and everybody else building around it, and us shaping it to make it what it is.
And you guys, you said this next project would be another 5-track EP?
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the plan.
Yeah, we got the 5 songs.
I
so-
think we're more nowadays is a lot different. I just think it's better to do 5 good songs and just try to jam as many songs into a CD as you can, just to try to get the 12 or 13 songs. I'd rather have 5 stand-up songs than 5 great songs and then 5 okay songs.
Yeah.
Plus, people won't give you $12 for a CD; they'll give you 5.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot of it too.
I think it's fun, been doing this enough now, talking to several different bands, all into various stages and different things, and it's kind of fun to get everybody's different take on it, because some bands believe in albums, some believe in singles, some believe in EPs. I talked to friends of mine, I haven't actually had them on the show yet, but the group Decadent Nation, they were doing like a single a month, and then at the end of the year they had their 12 songs and they were gonna put together the album and stuff. But they've released a individual track on iTunes and things, and then they also paired it up with hand drawn art and stuff. So just kind of making it a little more of a enticing, trying to part of a project, and then at the end of the year they would have the album ready and sell that. And but I think it's kind of a good, that's a good idea. I think EPs are great idea. Just like having fresh content all the time, to be able to constantly giving them what they want and stuff. Because I know a lot of times, even myself as a fan, I'll get an album, I'll put it in and hit play and love it, but it's like, okay, what's next? And I want another one. It's like, and it's like it stinks when sometimes you gotta wait a whole year, for them to put out another album and stuff, or longer. Yeah, so
touring.
We all have day jobs. I mean, that's if I would have won the damn lottery on Wednesday and taken home like $896 million, then we could have made this our job.
Sure.
And, we would be putting out an album every year, but we've all got time constraints, and but we want to put out the best 5 songs we can, as opposed to, like Brett said, I don't want to throw out shit. I don't want somebody to be like, oh, it's just a filler song.
It's not to say if there's 8 good songs we want to put out, it won't be 8 songs. We don't really have a number of songs we're putting out, but when we're ready to go to the studio, however many songs are ready for that time that's how many we'll do. We're not going to put. When we were talking to Pat Travers, he was talking about having to come up with like 12 songs every 3 months or whatever for his record label, and he just
wilt underneath that pressure.
Well, if that's all you do all day,
sure,
I could see it.
But he'd be like at the last minute trying to come up with lyrics for all these songs and stuff, and.
I've heard stories like those. The songwriters that have to have a song a day, or something like that, and it's like how do you force creativity?
Right.
It's like just
it's an actual job.
Right.
Get up and you do it every day.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I mean, eventually if you're working under pressure like that, you're gonna write stuff just to
write it,
just to fill it. Yeah. So. So you guys went to that Pat Travers show? And
yeah, we opened for him.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Cool guy.
He's very cool.
That was a great line, great song. That snorting whiskey and drinking cocaine. That's
that's his hammer too.
Yeah.
Right there. That's when he throws it down.
That's his big one, or one of them.
Yeah.
No, he's a cool guy.
Click, click, or boom, boom, out go the lights.
Yeah.
That's his 2.
Yep, those are the big ones. So he did all just solo acoustic that night, though.
Yeah,
he did a couple of songs on electric, but
Okay.
most of them it was just him on electric too. But he did mostly acoustic.
Yeah,
It
was interesting.
Told a lot of stories.
Yeah, told stories of touring and all that stuff. But
yeah, he can tell.
Yeah, he
can tell a story.
He's a storyteller.
Yeah, those nights are cool.
It was cool. Yeah,
I've done a couple of things like mentioned in Allman earlier. I saw Devin Allman at Moonshine do a solo storytelling night. Cool. I think he did a couple of tracks where Bobby Schneck Jr. joined him and stuff like. But for the most part, it was just him and a guitar, and it was hearing stories about like meeting his dad for the first time. I think it was outside the Checker Dome or something, and Devin was like 14 or whatever it was. But something just very crazy to just some of the stuff that he went through and things, all the stories. But
and Greg Allman is definitely a musical hero of mine. I can think in college I had found I forget what it's even called. It's a double CD, and there's a lot of unreleased stuff of Greg's. And man, I played that thing over and over. I just pissed off my roommate so bad, but he had so much soul going on, and now I think that I've got one of those CDs somewhere, and then my buddy has another one, has the other one. But yeah, Greg was definitely an influence for sure. And they're both, and Devin and Bobby Schneck Jr. are both great guitar players.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I love watching Bobby play with him.
He's smooth, man.
Yeah.
He's good.
You said that reminded me of a story. I listened to a lot of Howard Stern show, and a couple of years back when Artie Lang was on the show, he told a story about something about hating his neighbors in his apartment complex or whatever it was, and he put or I guess he cut just the piece of the song, but it was that Crosby, Stills, Nash, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, and he cut just like that piece and put it on a loop of that the part towards the end of the song, like that. He cut that and put it on a loop, and then left for the weekend. Went on vacation and had it cranked up on his stereo, and
Nice.
so he came home and found his door kicked in, and
Somebody had hit the radio with a hammer.
Right. I think he said the cops they busted his door to turn off the radio and all that. But
That's awesome.
I just imagine your roommates having a similar feeling. Listening to on repeat.
Well, and you really, it's just studying the nuances of of artists that you like. It's just like if you're doing it with a guitar, you're doing it with a drummer or keys. You're in flooding your brain with this style of music, and you absorb it. It becomes a part of what you do, and
Sure.
That's how. I don't want to sound like Greg Allman, but there's definitely a part of that in there with everything else. That's how you kind of evolve it evolves out of your love for all this great music that's out there.
I just saw Greg at River City a couple months ago.
Nice.
I guess.
That's right.
Yeah. Still got it, man. Still sounds great. I mean, the voice. When he's doing all the hits, they sound just like the record. I mean, it's crazy. A guy who's I think 67 now or something. But for
Still got the pipes.
yeah, still singing all these years, and he still sounds like so great. But yeah, I think the only and it wasn't his fault or anything, but the worst part of the show was something was going on with his Hammond B3 there, and they had to swap it out. So luckily they had another
Hammond.
Yeah, right.
Everybody carries a spare.
Yeah.
Get out your spare B3, man.
So he there was a part so whatever was going on, it was with it, but they so I think he switched over to guitar. And these guys, it was kind of distracting for the show because the show kept going on, and these guys are over here trying to get this organ off the stage and everything else.
1,000-pound box of wood.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but it was still overall a great show and just a lot of fun. But
yeah, we a side story. Hammond B3 just popped into my brain, and we Brett and I went down to Nashville and got to basically be roadies for this amazing musical band called the Fluctuators, and their keys player Dane Bryant had B.B. King's Hammond B3. He's like, yeah, it used to belong to B.B. King's band. Holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like a 50s whatever Hammond B3.
Yeah, and they had to bring a truck. He had to load it on a truck and get it there. And that was
He actually hired. He had mover guys.
He had movers.
That would take it from gig to gig.
Huh.
He actually is Olivia Newton-John's music director and
Yeah.
keyboard player.
All right.
Yep.
Is one of his things.
That's pretty
does
cool to see BB
Sure.
King's B3.
That was a trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I
Take a picture of that.
I don't know. It's very different, but a similar story came to mind. So you guys watch Jimmy Fallon at all?
Every once in a while.
Yeah, he
One
does a lot.
cooler guy.
He does these all these, like impressions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he did one.
Yeah.
He did one on there, and he did the Doors doing "Reading Rainbow," and but he took it. He could have easily just gone up there with and kind of faked his way through a Morrison impression. But he got like an actual Doors tribute band to like back him.
Awesome.
And like so the guy actually had like a Moog synthesizer and all this. They had all the proper instruments to pull off the sound. So like
Nice.
I thought that was it was like it's
awesome.
I don't know who probably not actually belonged to the band or anything like that, but it's still nice to see like people actually pay attention to detail and whether regardless if it's BB King's Hammond B3 or whatever it is, just that people notice and people that attention to detail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
There was some amazing gear back in the day.
Yeah.
There's amazing gear now too, but man,
That was
that
a
old
crazy
stuff.
watch because he had that Moog up on top of his Hammond.
Yeah.
So while he was playing his Hammond, he was actually, I guess those old analog Moogs, you had to tune them in between every song.
Yep.
So he'd be sitting there tuning them while he's playing the song.
Yeah.
It was unreal. I was
And-
like, my brain doesn't go in that many directions.
Yeah, to point to
He's
Terry,
playing-
I mean, it amazes me when somebody's playing
bass.
two different lines.
They're
Yeah,
playing
like
bass and
Raymond's
treble
Eric,
lines.
who's playing the bass and also playing the keys. That just blows my mind, man.
And then tuning something else in the meantime.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Making a sandwich.
yeah,
I can breathe.
He's making PBJ there. Extra PBJ.
there's a guy, become a good friend over the years. I've been following him around a bunch, and I've talked about him on the show. He's been on the show. I was fortunate enough to hang out with him for one night when he was in town. But this guy Lincoln Durham out of Texas, he's a fantastic singer-songwriter, real like kind of more kind of like darker, like goth kind of lyrics and stuff in a lot of his music, and but really great player. Plays a lot of like he's essentially a one-man band. He plays the drums with his feet, wears the harmonica around his neck, plays guitar. He plays like a lot of slide, plays like a diddly bow kind of cigar box guitar. Also plays a violin on certain songs and things. But and he's got shakers. He's got to sing, play harmonica, guitar, drums, shaker. He's got so many different little toys to pull from his collection there. And like, but yeah, I mean I can't even play guitar, and like to see a guy doing like 6 things at one time is pretty wild stuff. And
Sure.
A lot of work.
We've talked about here recently. I saw a news story about Joey Alexander, who's this kid from the Philippines who's 12, who's playing with the New York Jazz Orchestra with the Marsalis, and he's 12 years old and he's playing these complex jazz pieces, and it just shows you that we all get dealt different cards, and I think we're all I'll say it, but I think we're all lucky that music was one of the cards that we got dealt. I mean, it's like self-psychiatry, you know what I mean? Music is a gift.
Yeah, we
for
all
sure.
need that for sure.
Definitely.
Sometimes it's a curse.
Yeah, it can be. But for the most part, man, it's a beautiful gift to be able to play music. One of my favorite things to do is after practice, usually on a Saturday, I go to the guitar store and just play guitar, and I love seeing like kids come in or somebody that is actually there. They're going to buy a guitar. It's weird. I'll turn into like a salesman. I'll be like, "What are you looking for?" Because you want to see somebody else pick it up and find it and take it and do their own thing with it. And at the worst, it's one of your best friends. To have music in your life, and it's great to be able to pass that to somebody else.
yeah, I recorded one of these with Jimmy Griffin at Killer Vintage.
Oh, amazing!
So like that was pretty awesome to.
It's a cool place.
Yeah, just to sit in with all of those guitars and like and he told me some stories about like guys like Billy Gibbons and Keith Richards and Keith Urban and all these guys like actually come into the shop there and stuff. Like that's
where everybody goes.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I went in there. I'll go in there and hang out with those guys, Jimmy and Matt. They're all really, really great dudes. And I was in there one day, and a couple of younger, flashier guys were in there, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" Just talking to them, and so what are you guys doing tonight? I'm like, "Oh, we got a gig. Where are you guys playing at?" "Oh, what's it called again? Verizon Wireless." They were, I think it was Florida Georgia Lines guitar players, and that's the spot if you want to see the amazing guitars and the amazing amps. They've got a 64 or 5 Vibrolux in there that looks brand new. It's just, it'll blow your mind if you're in there for looking around for even 10 minutes.
There was another part of the story you said about somehow they, I don't know however they got them, but they had these new amps or new to the shop, and I think they just like put them online or something, and they get a call like immediately. And it's Peter Frampton, and he wants to buy these amps that they had, and they're like 50s or whatever. Something. I don't remember all the details, but it was just like these old amps, and Peter Frampton wanted them, and they're like, "Hey, this is Peter Frampton. I want to," but like who? It's like how's that? It's just. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to think that's we live in that time where there's the internet and everything else that you can get a call from. Peter Frampton finds some amps online and wants to buy them and stuff. And
I was at Killer Vintage, and I was talking to a kid that I think he used to work there, and maybe he's going to college now. And we were just talking about all the people you see. You might see Steve Miller in there, Mike Campbell, or somebody comes in and. He's like, "I met John Mayer." I'm like, "No shit, John Mayer, that's cool." He's like, "Yeah, he stole my cereal." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, you can't. Number one, you can't share cereal. That's just gross. He was like, "No, it was dry. It was in the box." But I was eating a box of cereal, and he comes in with his crew, and he's looking around, and he's there for 30 or 45 minutes, and the next thing I know, him and his buddies are gone, and he stole my cereal. That's pretty crazy that John Mayer's like, grab those Frosted Flakes, man.
Right. I've heard that about him.
That dude will steal your Captain Crunch. It's a trip to go in there, man, in multiple ways.
Sure. So let's all go around. Who was the guy that inspired you to pick up your instrument or whatever, or start playing? Who was the guy you had really admired?
Well, honestly, I don't really remember anymore.
Yeah.
The first album I bought, vinyl, for those of you who don't know what that is, my first vinyl album I bought was Queen's, what the hell was it, News of the World. And there was some just ferocious guitar riffs on that album.
Yeah.
And I just really remember that album from my youth. So
yeah.
That's probably what pushed me.
Brian May's that's pretty good. Good start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had older brothers, so I had the Big Peaches crate full of albums, and it was the typical Led Zeppelin 1 through 6, 7, every one you could find. Mm-hmm. Frank Zappa, Hawkwind, which was Lemmy's original band, psychedelic stuff. And Hendrix, basically all of the stuff from the late 60s, early 70s. That's what I grew up on.
Yeah. Very cool.
So,
well, when I was a kid, I think as a kid, I can remember these little moments where you'd hear a song on the radio and it would just blow your mind. And I remember hearing "Stand By Me" as a little kid and thinking like, "Oh, that's a beautiful tune." Still is. "Sleepwalk" by Johnny and Santo was a tune that I heard as a little kid, and like, that's amazing. "Riders in the Storm" probably blew my mind whenever I was 5. Whenever I probably became, it's probably 12 or 13, I had a cousin who would come down, for a week or so, who lived in Michigan, who played guitar. And after he would bring a guitar and play, and after he left, I would get out like the old school tennis racket that had like the wood frame around it,
Sure.
and I'd act like I was playing guitar. So obviously there was something there about that. He ended up giving me a Charvette guitar of his that was splattered red and black like Van Halen,
Yeah.
and but it had a Floyd Rose bridge on it, and the first time I went to like change strings on it, I think it like combusted. It like caught on fire. I had no clue how to run. I still had no clue how to run a Floyd Rose.
Can't
Like,
see you even having one.
I know. I was just like, hey, it's a guitar. Let's change the strings on it, and it caught on fire.
Burnt the house down.
But whenever I was I think I was 17, I had a buddy who had a Squier Strat, and that was in the Nirvana Pearl Jam days, and I remember saying to him like, man, I wish I could play guitar, and I would shake this dude's hand if I could find him today. I've lost touch with him, but he said to me, I don't think you'll ever learn how to play. And he meant it. He was just being a dick. But I would like shake his hand today because that pissed me off so much.
Sure.
When I went to college the next fall, I went to Indiana University. I took a guitar class, and I was just off to the races. I just loved it.
I'll show him.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, fuck you. I'll figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And I had done like just out of boredom. I grew up out in the country, and so just out of boredom, I would just write little poems and little essays about fucking nothing. But whenever I picked up the guitar, I could kind of merge those two together, and I started writing horrible songs. And by the time I was 23, I had moved to Nashville and tried to do the songwriting thing. So
All right.
that's where it kind of took off. So Andy Osmond, if you're listening, you're a dick. Thank you.
Is he a part of the Osmonds?
He's not. Spells different, but.
They got
That's
nice
awesome.
smiles.
Well, I grew up. I always from the time from my earliest memories, I was playing drums on something.
Yeah.
Probably books, pots, pans, boxes, anything I could find.
Desk of school.
Yeah.
I was maybe 3 or 4 years old doing that, and I grew up going to a church that was very musical. So when I was, my mom, really it's my mom that inspired me to play, because when I was growing up, she saw that me playing on all these, whatever I could find, and she saw that it was more than just kind of a phase or like
Right.
just kind of messing around. She could tell. She told me before that when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I would always sit right in front of the stereo we had at home and just play drums and listen to music, and it was all church music, choir music, gospel music, whatever. And so she told me this actually probably a couple years ago. She's like, I come in there and you're not playing, you're just sitting there listening to music. And she was like, well, why aren't you playing? And I looked at her and I was like, there's no drums on this part. And they're like, the drums had stopped at that part, and then they came back in later. And when they came back in, I came back in, playing with them. And she's like, that's kind of when she knew that it was like I really had an ear for that.
There's something wrong with it.
Yeah, she's like, there's something wrong with this boy.
Something wrong with
What's wrong with you, boy?
But yeah,
That's awesome.
So I would say my mom's really the one that got me into it. She played piano, she sings. Probably didn't really know anything about drums, but so I started playing in church when I was like 11, and then I moved on from there, listening to the biggest influence drumming wise were just these people in different churches that no one's ever heard of before that were just killer drummers.
Sure.
And then also as far as professional drummers, Carter Beauford was like the very first one I noticed. This guy is doing Dave Matthews Band drummer. This guy is doing something very unique with his drum patterns, and so that I started listening to all of his stuff I could find and try to mimic him like crazy. I would play all the live Dave Matthews Band and just listen to him and play what he played. Try to play what he played. So he would be like the first professional drummer that I would really took notice of and tried to emulate. Then I got my first kit when I was about 17 or 18, like a real kit, and that's basically kind of I really started focusing more on it then.
Yeah.
So,
And a side note, and I don't know if I ever said this to you, but every gig we've ever done, I've had somebody come up to me and be like, "Your drummer is a badass."
Yes.
And yeah, it's
Everyone.
yeah, and I've heard the whole motto that you live and die by your drummer, and I believe that. We've got a Ray's phenomenal and constantly looking for something different and something new to do. So
Yeah.
thanks.
he's a beast.
That's my story.
All right.
I'm sticking to it.
Well, I had an uncle that played piano when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I remember earliest memories of him playing piano at my grandma's house. So I got interested in that, and I started taking lessons in probably 3rd grade, and took lessons for probably 10 years, and really wasn't going anywhere with it. Was kind of bored, and then Yes came onto the scene, and I heard Rick Wakeman. Oh man, he lit a fire under me. Him and John Lord from Deep Purple and Rod Argent, and wow, there really are keyboards in rock and roll.
Yeah.
So that's what really lit me up was those guys.
Yeah, we don't have. There's not. I mean, there's still tons of great key players, but it's just not as much. I mean, that's that '70s prog rock like you were talking about. Like, I mean, there's just the keys aren't as prevalent in music anymore as they once were like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Every once in a while,
sure,
comes on.
yeah. I mean, you got you got a lot of different styles, but yeah, like it's really cool to whenever you see like a full band with keys players and whatever it is and stuff. It's always having a lot of different instruments to pull from.
Terry's added like so many more layers and texture and bedrock to us. He came on board. Would you say in August?
Yeah.
And I think by 2 weeks later we were playing gigs with him. He came in and just hit the ground running.
Yep.
And that's to me the mark of a great musician is somebody who wants to play catch up. And, and he didn't slow us down at all. And off we go to the races, and it adds so much more texture and.
I don't even think we were really like cognizant of wanting a keys player until we did our first EP, and then
Adam
we had
Manis.
Adam Manis coming in, just ridiculous. And he laid our organ tracks for us, the B3, and we were like, we need a keys player because this is awesome. This is like another dimension.
And then the problem we had after that is Adam Manis is the one that did our keys.
Yeah, Adam's so good,
and he plays guitar. I think he plays cello.
He plays everything.
bass.
Yeah.
So basically, you got somebody coming over, and you're like, nope.
So all the keys that are on our first CD, he basically came in, listened to those songs 3 times each, and then played those tracks. And
Never heard him before.
And got up and left, and he was done. See you guys.
He was
Nailed it.
He used to write songs for Erin Bodie. He wrote a lot of her songs.
Yeah, her keys player.
he's a
He's
beast.
Great musician.
definitely a beast. And
Jazz
and we didn't.
guy.
The search continued until Terry came along.
Yeah,
And I
when
think
Terry
we
got
all-
here, we were like, oh, that's it.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
And I saw the ad on STL Music, the Yes tribute that I've been working with had just imploded, and I was all bummed out. And I thought, I'll try this website and see if I see anybody looking for a band. And there I was, looking for vintage keyboards, and I wasn't sure if they meant the vintage player or the keyboard.
We got
So I
both.
answered the ad. So it was unbelievable luck that. And the music was posted online. I listened to it. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, I got to be a part of that.
And my only concern when Terry got to the first practice was that we were going to scare the hell out of him with our myriad of dick jokes and
That's pretty
dick
much
jokes.
That's pretty much everybody that came down.
everybody that came
For
down.
me and you, I remember we were like,
Ray's going to think we're crazy.
we were thinking, well, we weren't sure like if he was going to be like a psycho killer either. We're like, I don't
Found
know.
him on
If
Craigslist,
when you
so-
go to some stranger's basement, you know,
Bring your drums.
bring your drums.
Tell your family you love them.
I want to toughen you up.
What's your story, Brett?
So yeah, everybody came back. These two guys came back to the second practice. So.
Yeah, that was a good start.
All right, you're up, Mr. Buttry.
All right. So anyway, I came from a family where
I was born a poor black.
Well, pretty close. Nah, my family was all musical. Like they weren't really musical, but they were more like hippie party people. So we would always have parties. Ever since I can remember, people would have their guitars, big circle, singing songs, playing music, and that's just how I grew up. So that's what I started acoustic, learning all the chords and all that. And it just so happens that there's an old my uncle left a old 69 EB Gibson EB bass at the house, and my neighbor was learning guitar, so that's kind of where I went with it. I just started playing the bass, and I was still doing the acoustic, basically just playing chords and singing songs, just like campfire shit. And then started playing bass with these guys, and then they were more into the metal scene, so I was playing like Iron Maiden and stuff like that. So Steve Harris, I did a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I kind of was on and off. I kind of got sidetracked here and there throughout life, but a buddy of mine, which I actually seen play, is when I met him, David. Mm-hmm. He inspired me a lot, and he got me on the jazz path, which helped a lot. It taught me all my theory and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it started, just family hippie gatherings. And now I'm just whatever I am now.
And Brett and I worked together. I think the first week that I came to the job, I met him at the office, and
a big open mouth kiss.
we just embraced each other.
Literally.
Somebody had to break it up.
Yeah.
Hold me right
HR
there.
had to get involved.
I said, "You look like somebody I want to stick my tongue in."
I'm sorry, Mom. But I actually still have in my work phone where I had put his phone number into my phone, and it says Brent instead of Brett.
Hey, call me Brent. That's
Hey, what's
right.
up, Brent? But
I had to beat him up one
yeah,
day.
I got a couple punches in the neck for that. But eventually, him and I got on the same team, so we were working together, and we were just insta buddies. He's like he's just one of the funniest people that I've ever met. He's like to my brain, he's like a cartoon character. He's like a superhero, like funny guy. I don't know. I can't explain it, but once we started hanging out, I played a couple of songs for him, and he realized I wasn't just some dude who was playing Dust in the Wind.
Well, that's funny because you were like, yeah, because we were talking music somehow.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I play a little guitar here and there. And then he came over and started whipping out like Devil's Daughter. I was like, fuck. I was like, let's get a band, man.
Yeah, so we got together and started figuring it out, and that was like the year before. That was like 13. You and I got together, and
then we had that dude from Chicago.
Oh yeah,
over.
We had this guy from Chicago come in, and
he was the loudest, most annoying person you'll ever want.
Yeah, so we eventually got pared down to just me and Brett again. Like, all right, let's figure this out. And lo and behold, here comes Ray, and Midnight Reveille is born, and we take off, and it's been a lot of fun since.
Where's the name come from?
We were trying to figure out different names, and
forever.
it did take forever.
Well, it started off.
I think Soul Vasectomy was like the best one.
Soul Vasectomy.
Soul Vasectomy.
We got a lot of bad ones. Well, remember we were going to be
Flannel Wedgie was already
Flannel Wedgie. God damn it! Why didn't we pick that?
We were going to be the Scofflaws, but they were already taken.
Yeah, that was the name that we picked out, and then I just had a couple of words in my head that like stuck with me, like cavalry.
He wanted all the words that nobody can pronounce.
Nobody can fucking pronounce.
And I remember even saying, "Well, you pick something somebody can pronounce," because it took me like, I don't know, a good month before I could say our band name.
We had to have cue cards.
We still have
Reveille. I kept saying Reverie.
Pretty much everyone that reads the name says
Reveille.
Reveille.
But we pride ourselves on our ability to spell.
Pronunciate.
Yeah.
If you can't pronunciate, get the hell out of my show. We were at an Anthony Gomes show one time.
But
I was in his opening act. Or it was actually, I don't know if it was Anthony Gomes or the New Soul Cowboys or whoever. But the guy goes, up next is Anthony Gomez. It is just
sorry,
shit.
party.
I just laugh because it's the same thing with us. Midnight Reveille. Let's hear it for Midnight Reveille.
Well, you have to primer people. You got to tell them how to pronounce the
Everybody we've
goddamn
ever
name.
we
It's
opened
Reveille.
up. Everybody we ever opened up for has always came to us and
How do you pronounce your fucking name?
Say that name?
But it's basically French for wake up, and Reveille is the military song, in the morning that they play for fucking wake up. So it's French for wake up, but we wake up at midnight. Goddamn.
Yeah, wake up.
We sleep till midnight.
Why don't we just call it Midnight Wake Up?
There you go.
It's not as French.
That's American.
It's not as French, mofo.
Oui, oui.
We wanted to be more French.
Yeah, we're gonna add an accordion to our music. A little more French.
And berets.
Yeah.
We should all wear
berets.
berets, different color berets,
That's a great
Those
idea.
I get red.
Pencil mustache.
pencil mustaches. We should get mimes too.
We should have an onstage mime.
That's a great idea.
Please erase all this.
All right, yeah. I gotta hit record. Hold on.
Oh, let's start over again.
I was born a small.
A small sack of shit. That's what my daddy used to say.
This just got real sad.
Yeah.
It did.
All right, guys. We'll close this thing out. Thanks so much for hanging out, taking
Thanks.
some time.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us, man. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, that's been a load of fun, man. This is great. So I can throw some tracks on from the self-titled EP.
Absolutely.
What would you guys have any requests you'd like to hear me play?
All 5 of them.
All
Yeah.
5 of them.
Devil's Daughter. Love
Don't
is
play them
Strong.
backwards, though.
Pick the ones that you think are the
Yeah,
strongest
freak
for you,
out.
man.
The message
Yeah,
is twisted.
whichever
All
ones you
right.
like. You're running the show.
All right, I'll do that then. So these guys are in the studio, so keep an eye out for new music coming soon. And then what we got? May 13th. It's a little off, but May 13th at Natalie's.
Yes.
Yep.
Central West End.
Central
Yeah.
West End.
Yep.
If they join our Facebook thing.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
YouTube.
Well, that way when the CD
Information.
comes out, they'll get a notification.
Yep.
Yeah.
Reveille is how you spell Reveille.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll be. I'm on the website when I post it. I tag
Oh, cool.
everything. So
Awesome.
cool.
make it all very convenient for everybody to find everything. So
Cool.
but yeah, so keep an eye out for some new music coming. Go out and see these guys live if you get a chance. And but yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Talking to a girl in blue. Eyes are moving like there's nothing left to lose. Stuck out on her own little limb. What a fine place to find my indecision. I don't wanna be the next. Throw it all on the table. 'Cause you got a hammer in your hand, and I am able to see the line of fools left in your wake. And the the more of them that lose, the more you have to take. Take me down, 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 and break me in the middle. You're gonna do it anyway. Take me down, 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 and break me in the middle. I know I should walk away and get back on the road, but you got your trigger finger wrapped around my soul, and there ain't no stopping now, 'cause you love like you're desperate and hide like you're gold. So take me down, 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 and break me in the middle. You're gonna do it anyway. Take me down, 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 and break me in the middle. I would not give you my last dollar when, honey, I could smile for free. Do my trick and turn around this table, get you running, running after me. Then I'll take you down, 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 and break you in the middle. Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. Take you down, 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 and break you in the middle. Oh, oh, oh. Take you down, 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 and break you in the middle. Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. Take you down, 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 and break you in the middle. Oh, oh, oh. Take you down, yeah, 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 and break you in the middle. Oh, oh, oh. Take you down, yeah, 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 and break you in the middle. Oh, oh, oh.
Paper Podcast. Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.